I'm sure Therese will be thrilled to honor your agreement when you get back. But in the meantime, get to the museum and ruin those paintings.
I'm not a gymnast.
I thought we went over this.
I'm going back home. I need to get in touch with my roots, figure out who I am. See you around.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 to the Third Power is a game that had more hands on it than Ashley St. Clair, and like the conservathought in question, the consequences of such only became visible months after the offense. While many longtime residents of the World of Darkness will point to the unceremonious shit-canning of the original devs as culprit, in particular the purge of original Bloodlines writer Brian Mitsoda, one glance at the social media for the man confirms klaxons were blaring out a wokeness warning long before Mitsoda was sacked. I covered the earliest inklings of this malady in my World of Wokeness rant, and at least 2 total teardowns and an entire ownership change later, it's my sober duty to report the following. Fuck you, I was right! Fuck you, I was right! Fuck you, Let's see, feckless first-person flop after devs promised it to be a balls-out RPG, only to whirl about and release a suck-ass Seattle simulator?
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
In before everyone abruptly pretends this game is perfection personified because White Guilt Wolf decided to follow it up with an overrated Netflix anime. Though I must admit upon completing it, a Netflix film might actually be more interactive than the majority of Bloodlines 2. If you so much as start a conversation, you best put down roots and start a family, cause bitch, you're gonna be a while. While all RPGs are expected to have some semblance of repartee, these dialogue sequences are about the only thing longer than the game title. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines begins, concludes again, Revelation, Armageddon, Deuteronomy 2 is less a shit-ass RPG than a glorified fucking visual novel with occasional combat. Though describing these sequences as combat is a statement so charitable it ought to be tax exempt. Entirely absent is the knife play, sword play, gun play, and kitten play of the original. After all, who wants to wield a wooden stake in a damn Dracula game where it would one-shot the entire cast? No, I'm afraid the only person being penetrated by wood will be Nosferatu.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
In its place, Pajit Kundo! Ah yes, the undead's immortal nemesis, not crosses, garlic, wooden stakes, or sunlight. Fucking karate!
Karate, Jerry, karate.
That's right, my fanged friends. After professing themselves all but betrothed to the tabletop role-playing game Bloodlines was based on, developers' Chinese Room's redonkulous idea of deep-ass RPG combat comes in 2 entire flavors. Kick and punch, or punch and kick, not at all unlike a lesbian marriage. And like a lesbian love story, there's a whole lot of ham and hawing and hand-jiving, but by the evening's conclusion, nobody really got dick. Which is appropriate, as outside of a gameplay loop you could fit in a Chinaman's codpiece, dick is about all there is to do. Pursue person of interest, carry on cringy conversation with them, sally across an overworld map more shoebox than sandbox while inundated with an internal monologue so long it has chapter breaks and a fucking epilogue, kung fu fight faggy vampires before being forcibly fired into your 1500th flashback. Blather, rinse, repeat. And that's only when the private dick in your dome closes his cliche cannon for 5 seconds and allows anyone at all to get a word in edgelord-wise. Yes, friends, Vampire the Masquerade Revelations EX Plus Alpha Tournament Version Edition Part 2 is one of those games. The kind where unctuous tutorials, the long dead instructional booklet, or even everyone's favorite, the ubiquitous bright yellow piss paint, are passed over for the laziest explanatory device of them all. An irksome, unlikable, perpetually prattling exposition generator forcibly bolted to your brainstem. Yes, yet another moratory motor mouth holed up in your crowded cranium, providing play-by-play of every plot point and piss break, even and especially when someone outside your skull has already explained it.
Gotta say, going to beard the monster in her den isn't top of my list, but let's get it out of the way. do you suppose the old bird's after now? Oh, play it careful over any accusations. We only have my memory to go on. She knew where we were headed. Makes no sense, though. I'd lay odds those boneheads were the same flavor as Atrium. Feels like someone else has got eyes on us.
See, video games are written almost exclusively by hipsters. And I know what you're thinking. Hipsters? Didn't we exterminate their kind during the great Coachella cost of 2017? 'Tis true, young Padawan, we did indeed dwindle their numbers. But if hipsters are an endangered species, the video game industry is a fucking nature preserve. I mention this because hipsters also happen to be natural-born culture vultures. Hence, when a prick project lead says, hey, we need about 1 billion decatons of insufferable exposition pounded into the player's head at unremitting intervals because we can't afford Keanu, the copyist in question doesn't say, now how may I convey this valuable intel without treating the player like he has an IQ south of 7? No, sir. Instead, he exclaims to himself, wow, what a prime opportunity to try and profoundly fail at a film noir monologue. Hipsters being hipsters, they wouldn't know Sam Spade from Sam Hyde, and so he skims the cliff notes of Raymond Chandler's career, cranks up the cringe factor, and, well...
Father McMillan is alive and well, just minus a few digits. And you've paid your dues to the court. Everyone wins. Although I'd imagine the good father doesn't do organ recitals anymore, huh?
Okay, say that's true. Are you gonna tell anyone? Don't be a dick.
Oh, Miss Onda, I am the best kind of dick. A private dick.
Started a quest, inner monologue. Completed a quest, inner monologue. Listened to a Tribe Called quest, inner monologue. This fairy fruit bat has more voices in his head than Candace Owens. Worst of all, the lion's share of this overly loquacious bullshit don't even have the decency to confine the comatose discourse only to the present. Instead, they Marty McFly your ass to and fro from the snoring 20s to the Lunesta 90s and all points in between, boring your ass all the way off across all of antiquity. All of which are awkwardly conveyed by replaying the reminiscences of a retard. If you thought the Keanu cringe bait in Cyberbunk was bad, wait till Humphrey Blogart fires the 50th unfunny Whedon joke at your ass in a conversation so long it has an intermission, because this game has more flashbacks than John McCain at a K-pop concert.
It's up to you, Peter. Either you leave now, or I set up one of your random flashbacks.
You wouldn't.
More than that, you're of Malkavian blood, right? Either that or old Malk himself should be serving you with a copyright lawsuit.
All right, okay. Peter, what do you care? No, Brian, he's serious.
How's about we flash back to 2004, the last time we got an actual fucking Bloodlines game? Attributes? What are those? Character sheets? Never heard of them. Role-playing elements? Surely you mean dolling your Dracula up in eyeliner and assless chaps till he looks like an out-of-work coal chamber roadie. And of the 13 clans in Vampire the Masquerade, it's our forlorn hope you enjoy playing 6 of the shittiest ones and paying for the fucking rest.
Hey, happy birthday, Jesus. Hope you like crap.
The devs profess to poring over Baldur's Gate 3 like a Dead Sea Scroll, searching for the depraved, archaic secrets of a primordial invention known as narrative choice. Yet in a runtime so short you could swallow a can of Beanie Weenies and finish before your first fart, that somehow manages to feel about 50 times longer, not once did a decision I dropped feel like a more than mild variant of nice dick, rude dick, or indifferent dick. Sure, you can humor Lou, hit on Ryong, or bite Boofa Shaquanetta's neck and sire a nappy-headed hoe, but the only thing it changes is a couple of lines of dialogue in one of the game's multifarious day-long conversation sequences. That's right, folks. If you learn real good and hold a 50-minute pinko powwow with every character you encounter, your reward for yapping your ass off is more fucking yapping. This is what passes for an RPG in a post-critical role society. You can dump on D20s and number crunching all you like, but in the absence of such, all you're left with is a story that makes Twilight look like Jane Eyre. Shit! It is physically impossible to give a fuck about this story. Characters you don't care about, recapitulating a plot you've yet to achieve investiture in, and why indeed would you be invested when your primary interface to this fagaloon hoedown is a character you have only AirSat's agency with? Sure, you can trim your toenails, feather your hair, and wear more mascara than J.D. Vance.
Get inside the fire, Captain.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
But But attributes, inventory, and disciplines that haven't been dumbed down into glorified Goku moves, those have been quietly stuffed in a sack and beaten with bricks, along with anything else that might resemble actual role-playing. Coupled with a development team people with pink hair, pronouns, and more gender identities than game credits, it makes one wonder how real life wound up with more RPG elements than Vampire the Masquerade. Seattle itself is stunningly rendered in dizzying detail. Snowflakes cascade streetward or catch the light mid-combat in a dazzling display of graphical fidelity. Backlit buildings loom in malevolence, all but screaming world of darkness from every snow-swept rooftop and neon street sign. But if you ain't sucking blood or boofing a bitch, the entire experience is almost existentially empty. After your umpteenth trip to a back alley to pick up Eye of Newt for the coffee crone, your brain will outright invent entertainment the game fails to furnish. The byways and backstreets of Bloodlines 1 seem caked in corruption. Profanity and fear sweating from the sewer grates as hookers congregate, pornographers ply their wares, and an evil as ancient as both stalks the streets as an apex predator. Bloodlines 2 gives you plenty of alleyways and even glams them up with all contemporary ray-traced trimmings. Why, it even populates them with a prostitute or 20. But the entire exercise promptly backslides into sound and fury, signifying negative nothing. Bloodlines 2 is video game porn, alluring and attractive on the surface, and it even knows a fair few moves. But all you can ever really accomplish in this almost intentionally hollow experience is to sit there with a Mr. Pibb in one hand and your indifferent dong in the other and look at it. And that's really the tale of the tape with Bloodlines 2. All the shallow cosmetic shit, lighting, OST, atmosphere, do credit to the World of Darkness setting. What's missing is the meat and potatoes. Chinese Room have tried to pass off a plate full of parsley as a full-course steak dinner, and you need only turn your attention to the subterranean sales to confirm that no one is fucking fooled. And there you have it, folks. Bloodlines 2, the Guns N' Roses Chinese democracy of gaming. A vampire game without fangs, a Bloodlines game drained of plasma, and an RPG with no R's, no P's, no G's, just a seismic fucking L. I'm Razor Fist, God-sucking speed!